If you don't know what Army of the Dead is, it's a 2021 film from Zack Snyder that not only directed it, but also was a cinematographer on it. There's a lot of controversy on people that like and don't like this film. I, on one hand, really just like the overall aesthetic and the look that he gave to the film, and that's exactly what I wanted to replicate. In doing some research, I found out that he shot this film on some vintage Canon f/0.95 lenses.
The Canon Dream lenses are these lenses built in the 60s by this Japanese film lens maker, worked for Canon. So commercially, I think they produced 20,000 lenses in the 60s total. I don't know how many survive, but they have this really kind of creamy, crazy, bokeh-looking things. Anyway, they're just really, I find them really particularly cool.
And they are very, very pricey, so definitely not in my budget at all. But I did find out that you can get some lenses with an f/0.95 aperture for pretty cheap, but I still want to go cheaper. So that's when I came across this Camlan 50mm f/1.1. Yeah, it's not an f/0.95. I'm going to explain why I went with an f/1.1 to try to replicate this f/0.95 look. They shot the movie on a Red 8K Monstro, which has a sensor size that's more closely related to a full-frame sensor and not really an APS-C sensor. So those lenses they used were full-frame f/0.95. And just to make math a little bit simple, so technically this lens has a higher aperture than the one that they used on the movie, so I should get a really, really great depth of field with this thing. This isn't a sponsored video. I actually bought this lens myself, as you can see right here. They also have a 75mm f/1.1 you can pick up as well. I was really hoping they were going to come out with a 35mm soon, because I'm definitely going to pick that up if they do that. If you are interested in picking up the lens, it does come in other mounts. I have the Fuji X mount, but they also have it in Canon EF-M. They also have it in Micro Four Thirds, and they also have a Sony E mount, which technically Sony E mounts are both full frame and APS-C mounts. So technically you can take this APS-C, put it on a full frame Sony body. Don't know if there's gonna be a lot of vignetting, but something to try out. They also made two versions of this lens. This is the first gen. The second gen obviously is a little bit more, but they fixed the corner sharpening on it. They made it a little bit more sharper. That's the whole purpose of getting this thing, is to have like really nice blurriness to it. So that's why I went with the older version. Obviously for like this type of video, I want it to be blurry as I can get it.
I'm gonna shoot the entire movie wide open. There's never gonna be a stop on any lens for the entire film. But I was really enjoying all the zombie makeup tests that I would shoot with this camera, with the normal Canon Dream lens. And so we just did a lot of shots, and then a lot of low light because it's 0.95. And I was really experimenting with like how much natural lighting I could do and how carefully, you could control the environment. And it was really liberating.
I think I got some great shots with this, but to really seal that look of Army of the Dead, I want to throw it in DaVinci and do some color grading on it. But before I do that, I wanted to tell you some of the quirks that I found out about using this Camlan lens. One of which is because it is a 50mm on an APS-C. It is technically like a 75mm full frame equivalent, so you can't get a really super wide angle with this thing unless of course you put on an adapter, but that's just gonna reduce the quality. Actually, I'm gonna try that. Yeah, I'm gonna X-nay that idea. I didn't really like the close focusing distance on this lens. Again, it is like a portrait lens. Dang, okay, yeah, it's about this close away. So what's that, like 2 feet? Mm-hmm. Okay. You're not really gonna be able to get away with anything that's closer than a foot away and focus on this thing. But one thing I really do like is that it does have a declicked aperture on this, which, let's be honest, we're gonna leave it open at f/1.1 all the time, but it is stiff and does move without needing to be clicked, so that's really great if you are doing some run and gun videography and you need to change your exposure on the fly. But the ability to change your aperture without having some harsh steps going on with it is really nice to have, and a lens that's so cheap. And with it being cheap, I feel okay doing this. It's really, really lightweight. It's also made of metal, except for obviously the hood, but it really feels durable. All right, I finished my color grade. Let's see how it compares to Army of the Dead minus the zombies. think it turned out pretty good. If you do want some more budget filmmaking tips and tricks, check out this video popping up right here. Click it.